Yeah, so I'll be talking about next generation inbound sales. What are they and how do you improve it? So basically, inbound sales are the traffic you gather from upcoming various prospects that register on your website, come to the live chat, or just write you directly through other inbound channels, social channels, and so on. And how do we improve that part of the job, right? How do we separate all the trashy leads, trashy emails, and so on? So the main job for us as inbound sales to generate as much high potential leads as possible, company leads, as we work with mainly B2B clients. Yeah, so I'll talk about lead enrichment. Talking about lead enrichment is a few steps that we separate before the customer even starts testing with us. So even stage 0 is engagement with support teams, talking with them, live chat, understanding our product and what would they like, and then understanding if they're coming from a company and marketing sources. Then there starts the upcoming inbound flow. So business domain checking, if it's good or not, if it's existing. Then stage 2, depending on domain availability. So if it's available, if it's a normal company, if it's a big company or a small company. And then we, after the generation, we understand that we need additional information and gather that from additional databases like Crunchbase or SimilarWeb. Yeah, so the domains and their activity is separated here. As you can see, the signal of the first impact is checking domain activity. If it's available, as I mentioned before, understanding that we're working with a company or a personal lead, then we can move on to understanding what kind of business it is. So understanding it requires a lot of integration and understanding of what kind of ICP the best client that we can have is good for us. So understanding their company size, their industry, verticals, and so on. So that helps us understand that we need to prioritize and focus on it more. So the other part is understanding if the domain works and then integrating it with databases, as I will show you on the next slide. So engagement should be your top priority. As you can see on the right side, you can see our integration with Slack, what kind of information we can gather from the upcoming lead that registers with us. You can see from our CRM, Salesforce, the lead name, email, source that we gather with our forms, but you can also see the Crunchbase, all the information that we gather. So we understand that these databases give us a lot of information that we can then customize our special attention to the client, depending of what we determine that is good or bad, high potential or not. And the most important thing is to be fast, right? So you have like a lot of people who will try to beat you to writing that prospect, and then you need to be the first one to engage it, because that will help you to close the deal and potentially get a faster reply. So we encourage up to 15 minutes for our sales executives to reach out to the client, call them, or outreach them in social databases. So we're talking about, high potential conversion rate that increased. When we started separating low priority leads and high priority leads, it helped us convert a lot of maybe missed opportunities that we didn't focus and just took the load by itself. The whole prospects were the same. So after we separated high potential leads, we increased our conversion to 48% to close one from all the opportunities. And of course, the calling before 15-minute mark also increased by 26% our conversion to opportunities that helped us be ahead of our competition. So how do we do the lead prioritization? It's a lot of work between the covers, as they say. Lead qualification and handover to outbound, if there is an outbound outreach or inbound specifically. We score the leads based on high potential, low potential, as I mentioned before, by domains and their information that we gather, if it determines that it's an ICP for us. And then we discover, sell, close, or not. And that helped us determine that from 7 to 27, a golden standard, we send a lot of emails, like completely marketing outreach. Spammability was high. We didn't focus on any client. And then when we started separating, we increased our reply rates from 7% to 27%. So it's an amazing upbringing for 1 year only. So we're very happy about that. And then there's, of course, the information we gather and how we work with it in our CRM, Salesforce. So we have automatic statuses and ABS statuses. So we separated because low priority leads are more involved in our automation, and then they gather a lot of information automatically on their activity. If they open the email, if they reply to the email, if they click on a link or something like that. So it separates on automatic lead statuses that gives us an understanding of low priority leads in a bulk. But with high priority leads, we usually do a lot of things by hand. It's a more professional and more personal way to deal with the clients, right? So ABS statuses is more hand-picked and fixed on the ABS statuses that we push in by hand. So connected, meeting booked, or follow-up, and then we work with the statuses and understanding what kind of funnel we have. And of course, don't forget that timing is everything. Timing, focusing on being the first, beating your competition, and beating all of it. Because as an example, when you're buying a car in the dealership and you go to different dealerships, when you buy a car, you don't call those other dealerships and say, nah, I just bought a car, thank you for your understanding. No, you just ignore them. So it's a blind spot for us. So let's be the first dealership that they want to sign, right? And thank you all. If you want to talk more about inbound sales, connect with me on LinkedIn. Here's my QR code, and thank you all.
What kind of databases you use to get the data for the lead enrichment?
Yeah, so as I mentioned in the presentation slides, we usually use Crunchbase and SimilarWeb. We also use Apollo as our mailing system, which has a lot of information already in there. So we gather a lot of information through all those sources.
All right. How much impact did the quicker responses to prospects had on conversions?
Yeah, so that was an amazing impact for us because we started gathering more B2B contacts, B2B companies that we can close, and then increase our conversions to 47%, as I
That's a big
before.
number.
Yeah.
So do you think there can be a fully universal scoring system for all prospects?
Unfortunately, as the AI is right now, probably not. A lot of different companies have different ICP models and what kind of prospect is best for them. So probably setting up your own model would be your best. It takes time. Yes, it takes patience, but set up it yourself and see the results for sure.
Great. So you talked about improving the numbers, and so what has changed in the last year in your processes?
Yeah, so a lot of that I presented, the 7 to 27% was from working in a year. So we strived for improvements very quickly, understood that we need to work better with our current funnel, current prospects, and a lot of it has changed. The enrichment, everything was nothing the year before. So everything I showed was a year of improvement.